Do you want to wait a few seconds before we start?
Yeah, we can wait a little bit. Plus, it gives us a little bit more time to wake up.
Yeah, we're both really, I think the word for this is sleepy. Which I'm pretty sure I'll be more awake the second I jump into Mersel, but for now I am a sleepy bitch and my brain is broken. Oh, Heart is now recording us.
I think it's just a matter of, like, they had to record and go. Okay, well.
Oh my god, if no one's watching, that means we can go back well.
No! No!
We can go feral, Abby.
Looks at the 1 FPS that I still haven't watched about people with no audience that I still need to watch. I have no idea what happened to the Tobias and Bon FPS, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask.
Oh, thankfully I asked Mira to give me a catch-up because I knew that I did not have the attention span to listen to a recording, so I can, like, give you the catch-up after this.
Yes, that would be very good, thank you.
I can shake you.
Handshake,
Yeah,
yes.
so we can wait for a little bit to wake up, but then FPS.
FPS, yes. FPS.
FPS.
FPS. That is what we're doing.
God.
FPS. If Hart doesn't edit this and puts it on YouTube like this, hi, this is what it's like before every game.
Well, I wouldn't say that. This is what it's like when it's super early before every FPS. Before every game, there's usually a lot more laughing and me being like a smartass.
I don't know. It just feels like a lot of before game stuff is always just nonsensical rambling and silliness and goofs.
Lem lem.
Lem lem.
Lem 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 lem.
Lem lem.
Lem 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 lem. Lem 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 lem. Lem. Okay. Oh boy, oh god, oh no. Oh no.
Oh man, I'm gonna drink some water real fast.
That might be a great idea.
Oh man. Oh.
I don't think anyone else is coming right now, so gives you a grin. We are unsupervised.
We are unsupervised. We
We
can
are
say words like peck.
we can say words like fuck. But yeah, I want to start for you.
Oh yeah, we probably should do that, huh?
It's fine. We're only 5 minutes late.
I could give like a little countdown for so that if there is editing happening to this recording, it's easier to find. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Blah. Hello, everybody who's listening to recording, because we apparently do not have a live audience at the moment. Hi. My name is Artist of Obsessions, also known as Abby, and today we're having an FPS with.
Hello. My name is Vamp, and we should have never left me and I'll be together unsupervised. And now you all have to reap the results.
Yes, the results of character interactions and shenanigans, or at least that's what it would be normally. Except, we have a little bit of a
Do
we have a
mind
little bit
the
of a feeling
warning?
talk planned for today.
Yeah, it's
We
not.
got
It's
a
not gonna be. It's not gonna be anything high, I don't think. But do mind the medium angst warning.
medium angst, and I mean, Prim's emotions have been a little ever since Crescendo, so it
That's
might go into high, quite possibly. I
crossing
hope
your
not.
fingers it doesn't come to that.
It probably shouldn't, but like,
Yeah,
you know,
just in
you
case.
know, sometimes you just don't know what the characters are feeling until you express it with words.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we just succinctly summed up like the characters we're gonna be playing today. The He Who Magic Man and the Puppy.
And the puppy, yes. Speaking of the He Who Magic Man, where are you currently?
I think Mersel is actually on his way to Prim's house. I'd say it's like give or take a few days after Crescendo.
Yeah, it probably has been like a couple days, yeah. And Prim has noticeably uh like Primrose, and you know that sometimes after big adventures and stuff like that, she likes to take some time by herself. But taking time by herself doesn't exactly seem to be the right thing to do, especially with how she was at the end of that whole thing.
Yeah, like on
You
one
rolled
hand,
high enough on your insight. You know she wasn't feeling good.
yeah, he rolled pretty damn well on his inside. And like on one hand, he does understand the need for space because he does know that in the aftermath of Showtime, it did chafe on him when everyone was so concerned they kept like following him around. But like at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
like Primrose is not Marcel. And
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
case, it's like he knows she wasn't doing fine. It's not a case where it's like she's actually doing fine, even though what she went through was pretty bad. It's a case of she's actually not doing fine, and isolating herself is probably not a good idea.
Yeah. Way to sum up the puppy in a few sentences there.
Yeah, and Marcel has gone to Prim's house, or well, Elm's house, to go and talk to her.
Yeah. Prim's slash Elm's house. It is like a little house with like a blue roof in the suburbs of Toontown, and there's like little garden out in the front, and there doesn't there doesn't really seem to be any signs of like Elm being around, because I'm not playing two characters. Please, you can't make me.
Yeah. And thankfully, though, like when his knock on his door, I assume goes unanswered.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
it does go unanswered for a little bit. Hold on, I'll tell you the reason why in just a moment. Yeah, Prim didn't hear.
yeah, not with a 2 in fucking perception, Abby. Thankfully for the fate of this FPS, Marcel does actually have a key to Prim's house. Both he and Tobias do.
Yeah. Primrose, with Elm's permission, was allowed to give Marcel and Tobias like a key to inside, because I don't trust these boys. These are good boys. These are good
These are
lads.
good. And so, listen, I'll sell like the family recipes, so like you know what that means.
Yeah, basically. When Elm gives you like books of family recipes, that basically means, hey, you're family now.
Elm, Elm, Elm giving the book of recipes to Marcel. If Prim won't marry them just yet, that's fine. I'll bring them into the family some other way. But I digress. We're drifting again.
We are, in fact, drifting again.
This-
Marcel, after unlocking the door and stepping inside, you're greeted with a bit of a familiar sight. I'd assume like you've been there ever since like the sleepover FPS we had forever ago. Because like probably just hanging out with Elmer Prim occasionally. The interior hasn't changed much. It's still like a kitchen, a living room space, and which with a hallway that leads into other rooms. If you want to roll me a quick perception check.
Oh, my baby magic man. Oh, that's actually pretty good.
That's a 15, and like it's enough for this. There is a number of stuff like around the room, details that I forgot to include in the sleepover FPS, so I could finally do it now.
Yes.
There's like pictures on the wall depicting little family interactions. There is Primrose with her grandpa, and who's like this little Scottish Terrier Toon. And like next to Primrose, who is much taller in comparison.
Yeah.
It is a very hilarious height difference. These two puppies. And there's also pictures of another poodle Toon who doesn't seem to be in as many, but regardless, they still seem to be just as happy in these pictures as the others. And then there's also like a bookshelf that's in one corner of the room, and it's mostly filled with photo albums. The majority of it is photo albums.
My God. Marcel's just like, I think Marcel does like take everything in, and when he sees the photo albums, like obviously like he is kind of tempted to look at a photo album, because come on, Puppy Prim. However, he came here with however he came here with a mission in mind, so like he's just gonna file that away and possibly convince Elm to show him like photo album pictures the next time he comes by. But for now, he's gonna for Prim.
Yeah, and like it doesn't take much to find out where Prim is, because with that 15 perception, you actually do hear the sound of like music playing in one of the rooms nearby. Because Prim does in fact own a phonograph, which is, record playing thing. Yeah.
The music that's playing, is it like sad or like happy or?
I didn't think this far. It's probably a more melancholy song, yeah.
So hearing this,
because in that very Toonish way of the music fits the mood.
Oh my God. So hears this and it's like, yeah, sounds about right. And he goes and like he goes to the room where the music's coming from. Definitely a melancholic song. You can hear it from in front of the door, and he knocks.
There's kind of a little surprise from inside, and some shuffling around as there's like the sound of the music being paused like for the moment, and a few padding paw prints before the door very sheepishly opens, and Primrose looks up at Marcel like, "Oh, Mercy, I didn't realize you were coming over today." And she kind of rubs at her cheeks a little bit, and and opens the door a little bit more.
He steps in, like still looking Prim over to see how she's doing. Oh, well, yeah, I didn't exactly plan to. It was a rush decision.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. And like Primrose kind of absently, like with one arm gives a little hug to you in greeting.
He hugs back, and should I roll insight on how Prim's doing?
Yeah, you could roll insight.
He softly inside, don't fail me now. 17.
17. Well, you do see that Primrose is like always a little happy to see you, but she still has like a very down kind of air about her. Her tail, which is basically the heart on her sleeves at all times, has not been wagging. It's kind of just kind of drooping behind her in a very sad puppy way.
No! Listen, I know I suggested this FPS, but I'm fucking holding you at gunpoint. How dare? Yeah, like Marcel sees that dripping tail and kind of like squeezes Prim in the hug tighter before they let go, and kind of leans back and is like, how are you doing, Primmy?
I'm. She's gonna try to lie. She's gonna try to lie, but considering you already rolled a good enough insight, but still, I'm gonna do it. Oh yeah, no, 7. She goes, I'm fine, and the voice crack immediately gives away that no, that is in fact not true.
He levels her with a look.
Rose is just sweating, and she's like, what?
He raises an eyebrow.
And like Prim looks like she wants to like continue insisting before she just sighs, and she just kind of eventually just rubs the back of her neck and goes, okay, maybe I'm not as fine as I want to be. And she just shrugs and makes a few motions with her hands. I don't know. It's been a weird couple days.
That it has. Sal nods, and I think there's like a moment of like silence as they would remember what happened.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
And then he goes to like sit on the bed and like pat like the space next to him, and it's just, well, would you like to talk about it?
I'm gonna go off with your 17 insight from before. The moment you mentioned talking about it, Primrose kind of winces, and she's like, "You get the feeling that no talking."
He pats it like more insistently and is like, of course you can always say no, but Primmy, I think it would help for you to talk about it. And that was a 19 in persuasion, Avi.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Aren't you glad all of a sudden that Sal has +8 in this?
Yeah. I am very glad, honestly. There's still like, even with a high roll like that, there's still like obvious hesitation on Prim's end before she eventually kind of nods and trudges over and sits down beside you. And like, and kind of like a magnet, her head ends up on your shoulder. Just in a very natural way.
Yeah, and he then ends up on her other shoulder, the one that's, not pressing against his, kind of like pulls her close and squeezes.
Aww.
Uh, all right. What's been eating you?
I, I, there was a lot of stuff that happened during the whole, you know, Solfa thing, and I guess I've been doing a lot of thinking.
Hmm? And what have you been thinking about?
Mer- Mercy, I, I'm worried that if it wasn't for you casting, that spell you did with the whole area of effect thing that hit all those entourage and her and I don't every and like Primrose kind of like tries to find how to explain it, but she's kind of struggling a little bit
I'm gonna
because
roll
I'm
history.
struggling a little bit.
I'm gonna roll history to help you both out. And also, the talk is serious when Mersel, like, usually, like, if you didn't know a spell would describe it, like, Sel would immediately, like, light up and, like, try to explain it to you. So I'm like, you don't see it. Like, that's kind of how you figure that, oh, this is, like, kind of a heavy conversation. 24, that was almost a fucking nat 20.
Yeah,
Where was this when I was rolling Arcana during the game? Okay, I might be a little bitter, but
the
yeah,
roles were being saved for feelings talk.
with a 24, like Sel casts his mind back to like the battle in Crescendo to try and think about what
Mhm.
Prim's saying, and Prim, you can figure out when Sel has like remembered because like his lips kind of part in a kind of motion and his hair like kind of rises up.
Yeah, yeah. There was a moment in there where everyone was trying to stop the fight, and Prim very expressly said, "It's her or us."
And the thing is, that's not an inherently bad thing on its own to everyone who hasn't watched Crescendo, but at this point, they figured out that their villain was already falling apart.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And Primrose, like, do you want to roll insight, even though Prim hasn't expressed it
yeah, sure.
verbally yet? Ah,
Oh,
that's a
come
9.
on. I used the luck point.
Oh,
Come
that's a
on.
10. I mean,
There it goes.
it isn't quite as hard to read Prim as normal, but for some reason you can't gauge this set of emotions that she's trying to express like on your own. It feels like she's trying to get something across, but it's difficult
Mhm.
for her. I
And
uh, I feel is is guilty the right word? I don't know. I'm worried that if it wasn't for everyone else and that they were trying to stop and help, if if it wasn't for everyone else, I would have I and there's
you.
kind of like a silence. Does she need to say it out loud? She hopes she doesn't
No,
need to say it out loud.
she doesn't. And Sal kind of winces. Because, yeah, he will admit it did like, don't get me wrong, he knows. Like, perhaps he knows more than Prim does because he saw, like, he's not her. And, like, he definitely wasn't lost in the rage during Boulder Shunt.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
he has seen her angry. And he explicitly told Kyle in Casting Call that his partners were people that he should fear more just because they had, like, you know, a more loosey goosey like moral compass.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
yeah, so like he's sitting here and he's like kind of like squeezing and he's just, yeah, yeah. I know. I was surprised when you said that, but you,
I, I'm not supposed to. It wasn't. It's just situations like this have always been like fix the problem, you know? Fix
black
the
and white.
problem. Yeah. But that felt different. It felt way different than what I'm used to, and I'm not I cuz like I we were supposed to fix the problem, kill the monster, stop the person who's been causing so much trouble, but then I saw how Gil was reacting and how Sammy was reacting and how everyone else was trying to help her even though we were fighting her, and then uh it was
Well,
weird.
well, it's we call this sort of things morally gray, and it was a complicated situation. Don't get me wrong, she did terrible stuff, and I'm not ready to forgive her for what happened in Bouldershant, or the fact that or the fact that you got stabbed.
And
But
like Primrose kind of leans against Mersel a little bit more.
he kind of like squeezes her, but she was also Gil's sister, and there's no there's no victory or justice found in killing someone who's already half bent on spending themselves killing you. She was she was falling apart right in front of our eyes.
Yeah. And like Prim's like quiet as she thinks on this.
It's not all adventures are black and white. I'm afraid the ones you might have the the missions you might have been sent on, the fairy godmothers probably curate them for you.
Yeah, that would make sense. This is like this is the first time where the right thing isn't. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix everything. Normally that's what I do. Mercy, you know that's what I do, right? That's I get
Well,
I get sent on stuff like this all the time. I'm supposed to go and I'm supposed to fix the problem. I'm supposed to help. I'm supposed to be a good person. And yeah, starting to cry.
Sal's just like immediate panic on his face, and it's like, Prim, here, and he gives her like a hug and like starts driving circles into her back. You you're a good person, okay?
And Prim hugs right back and is just kind of clinging.
You're a good person. Don't don't let yourself don't let yourself forget that.
I I know I'm trying to be good. I know, and I'm it's harder than I thought it would be, I think. I
Well, yes, a lot of things that a lot of things that are worth it. A lot of things that are worth it are hard. Nothing, 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 nothing of worth comes easy.
But it's always been easy until now.
You've
And like,
never been. Oh, you first.
no, you go ahead.
I'll just kind of like squeeze his tire and goes, "Well, you've never been put in a situation like this until now."
Yeah. I mean, like, even with the even with Kyle, it was easier to you know deal with him because he was just an asshole to the end. But I don't. It feels like with Sulfa, it was like it wasn't her fault, even though she was obviously a pretty ugh, but you saw her like her expressions, how she was when she was casting that pecking spell.
I. He actually didn't. He rolled his too low perception.
Well, Prim rolled high enough, surprisingly.
So he's just like kind of wincing and it's like, I will admit that I couldn't see. I was further away from stage and and still kind of blinking stars out from the from getting he kind of taps his fingers together, getting a bit stabbed there.
By the way, are you okay? Did we and like Primus has automatically started fussing again.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't lose. I didn't. I wasn't that injured. You you saw that you were next to me when it happened. I wasn't that injured. Frankly, if I was that injured, I would have said something just because I wouldn't have been able to drive stuff at least.
That's that's yeah. Primrose nods as like yeah, those are all good points. She just worries easily.
But regardless, I didn't see her expressions.
Well, I think I did, and she was just. It felt like she wasn't all there. Which I mean, granted, parts of her soul were, you know, ugh.
Yeah, Sol kind of sighs and puts his chin on his head. Like I said, there's no real sense of victory here. There's no real sense of triumph.
You know, there wasn't a victory. It was just because like normally like when we do this stuff there's always a sense of relief afterwards, but there's no relief. There's just mm,
Well,
more worrying.
well, yes, there is more worrying, and we do have more things to do. But and he kind of like looks down at Prim a little. I wouldn't say there's no relief. There's relief in knowing that whatever whatever she had planned, which we might still need to figure out in case someone else tries to use it, whatever she had planned to become the only board in Ninquell, we foiled that plan.
Yeah, but
There's
what if there's like other people like that who want the same power? What if they go to the same person who
once again, like Ursel winces because again he knows of the trial. Like he rolled a fucking nat 20 on his history on the trial, and hex they give me more
can
lore pieces.
I roll insight?
Yeah, sure, hell yeah.
Oh, Prim.
Kind of makes sense considering she's being hugged
That's a
and she's
zero.
probably like she probably buried her face in his chest or something.
Can I please argue for advantage? Please.
Okay,
Please.
sure.
They love each other. They've been with each other for so long. Please. No!
No.
No!
Yeah, I'm sorry, Prim. You know the shit.
Uh,
Prim's just Marcel's just like Marcel's hand kind of stills in the circle of her back for a moment before like he rubs circles again, and it's just well, Charles is, from what I know, a very very old merchant, and well, I don't think we can avoid people buying things from them, but but in all the time that they've been active, it's not like, and he kind of like gestures, and he doesn't know how to like kind of put it to words, but Prim, you get what he's saying. Like that trial has been active for a very, very, very long time, and yeah, there has been a lot of world domination plans and whatever in Einquell. This is Einquell. Things have always turned out okay.
yeah. Like, I think Primrose is kind of quiet as she, like, thinks on that. Wait, how? And, like, it's occurring to her that, wait a second, how do you know the back alley stuff, Marcel?
Did she say that?
That's what she's thinking.
Anyway, and Marcel's like, and Marcel's like,
You can see, like, the little gears turning above her head, and she's like, wait a second. Hold on.
Marcel, I'm gonna roll something really quick. 5. Alright, Marcel does not notice. He just like keeps going. Anyway, well, I know it might not seem like it right now. You might not believe it, but you're a good person, Primi. Even if you said what you did, the fact remains that even if it's because of my moonbeam, you did not kill her, and you don't know if you would have killed her. You like you said, the moonbeam stopped you from getting into that position, but you don't know if you would have killed her, and there is always that chance that had you been standing in front of her right then and there, you wouldn't have.
And, like, Primrose gets a little quiet again as she tries to think how to word her thoughts.
Hey.
Marcy, looking at Sulfa was kind of like looking at a mirror. Like a terrible, twisted up mirror. And like, Primrose has explained it to Marcel that she's had a bit of a rough past.
Yeah, she has told Marcel this, so he's not surprised. It's just like, yeah, I can see that.
Like, I was jealous of people, not to the point of wanting to kill them off, but to take stuff that's important away from them. And Sulfa was like a way more extreme version of that. And
Prim, I know, even if it's easy to see all the similarities between you and her, you remember you never. I'm not saying that and here he kind of sighs, like rub circles into her back again. I'm not saying that you can assign things people have done wrong onto onto a list. I'm not saying you can rank it by how much it's hurt people, but you said it yourself. She was a more extreme version of you, and you did not, you still did not do the things she did. And unlike her, and here he kind of like, he he looks down to meet her eye. Unlike her, you you're here and you've changed. The fact that you're feeling guilty right now, the fact that you're feeling regretful about what you might have done, even though you haven't even done it, that's a sign you've changed.
So you were getting the biggest hug squeeze.
He gives like a little oomph, because, like, Prim's much stronger than he is.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably a little tight. A little tight. There's probably a little bit of wheezing.
You're okay, Primmy. You'll be okay, alright? And
Yeah.
Yuri kinda like hesitates for a second before he goes, and well, you're not the only person who struggles to be kind, or who struggles with their anger.
I think Primrose kind of pauses at that. Like you can, you can tell that she's kind of like thinking, like, "Wait, what?"
Marcel like chuckles a little, but is then like, well, I am warlock of the Wishing Star of the World. Hard work in middle of stories. Lockhart one. I I didn't get here without climbing a few of my own mountains.
I think Primrose kind of like thinks on that for a moment as she kind of like lessens the hug a little bit and sits up. She's still like leaning against you, but like she's just kind of quietly pondering to herself.
Like, he puts his cheek on her hair, and he's just like, well, you've heard what I said to Colin color studies, and quite frankly, I don't think I actually would have done that. I'm I'm pretty certain that my threats are more bark than bite. But you heard what I said to Kyle in the CCR. You remember Diaspro, don't you? I set his cross on fire, and it caused nightmares for all of us.
There's just uh, do you have trouble with and like Prim's kind of like awkwardly looking up at Marcel like like by the only person, do you mean that you're also
Rizal like gives a kind of smile, but it's really more of a grimace, and he's like, you, you know that I don't kill, right, Primmy?
yeah.
Do you know why I don't kill?
I mean no. I just always assume because it's the right thing to do and
Here he kind of like tilts his head. If I thought not killing was the right thing to do, I would have made more of an effort to stop people from killing in general. Well, obviously I do. It's more like, like you said earlier, in situations like with Kyle, where the person involved really doesn't want to improve themselves, doesn't want to redeem themselves, and would hurt more people if they were left to their own devices, even if you tried to jail them. And who orchestrated the death of so many people. I what would you say the right thing to do in that situation is? But I still wouldn't have killed him, even if I would have stepped aside to let Tobias do it.
Yeah.
You know I don't kill.
Why not?
It's not because it's too hard for me, actually. Although I suppose in a sense it is. It's because it's too easy.
Kind of falls quiet at that.
Especially when I was younger and much stronger than I was now, and had much less. He pauses and figures out how to word this. Moral guide. I only had what I felt as a guideline, and I knew I felt queasy when I thought about killing someone. But more than that, it would have been very easy to just kill people. I was much stronger when I was younger, and there wasn't many people who could stand up against that. And to an extent, that's still true to this day. Of course, I don't want to kill people, and that's still a reason, but
I think Primrose has
easy.
as Marcel has. I think as Marcel has talked, Primrose has just kind of let him speak as she just wraps both of her arms around him.
Still,
kind of like being a support while he goes.
Still, killing is the easy way out sometimes, and I do understand that sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes it's just, well, you saw what happened with Silva.
Yeah.
Killing won't really bring people back, won't it?
Yeah.
In her situation, I think what
I've
she's
been thinking
right now.
if things hadn't been quite so bad for her, would she have? If she had been in a different situation, would she have made the choice to be better?
I don't know, but and here he like looks at her sharply. That's a dangerous road to set yourself on, Prim. Maybe she would have. We don't know, but the fact remains that up until we started fighting her, she didn't. And well, who knows if she decides to be a better person. If she decides to serve her time quietly with us, mend her bridges, I won't hold that against her, but don't lose yourself in all the what ifs. Take it from experience. You can't help people who don't want to be helped.
You want to roll insight on Prim?
Yeah, sure. Can I please up your advantage?
Please.
Oh, that's a 30-20. Oh, from a nat 1 to a 30-20.
Oh, that's so good. There's like when you say you can't help people who don't want to be helped, there's just kind of like a quiet moment where Prim kind of thinks on that. Like you get the sense that that had never occurred to her before. That like doing the right thing is helping people, and obviously you need to help people, but like sometimes people just wouldn't want to be.
Like, he kind of looks down at Prim and considers this and goes, think about it this way. Have you ever met someone aside from Sulfa? Just don't think about supervillains or murderers or anything right now. Just someone intolerable or unpleasant.
Primrose thinks of one particular person.
And Marcel's just like, all right, well, how do you think she would have reacted if you told her that you were going, if you tried to, like, help her become a better person?
It's just she just kind of snorts. I don't think that would have ended up going well.
He smiles and is like, you see, it's kind of you to want to help everyone. Of course we do. I want to help everyone. After all, if we've gotten a chance to change, why shouldn't they? But you but you really can't help people who don't want to be helped per me, and some people just don't want to change. If we don't know if Solva would have made different choices if she hadn't gotten into what she did. And we don't know if she will make different choices when she's back to normal. But in the here and now, she still did really bad things.
Yeah.
And you changed. She did not. It's easy to lose yourself in the what ifs and the but maybes. But like the fact of the matter is that right here, right now, you're sitting here and you're feeling guilt over almost killing her, despite the fact that she caused so much harm to both you and a lot of people.
Laura's just kind of nods, and she's just quietly leaning against you again.
So like gives her a hug. And
I think like there's
Hmm?
like a comfortable pause for a little bit.
And like I said, you didn't really get into a position where you were right in front of her, so to speak, because of the moonbeam and the whole person. You don't know for sure that if you had actually been standing in front of her with that spear, you would have actually killed her. Self-control often kicks in.
Laura's just quietly nods.
You won't know until you get put in a situation like that again, unfortunately, but well, you'll know to watch out for it.
Yeah. I hope when the time comes I'll be able to make the right choice.
I'm sure you will. And he like squeezes her hand. I'm sure you will, Primi. And he says this with the kind of surety that, he says this like very surely, like with zero doubt whatsoever.
Aww.
He believes in her.
Aww. I felt soft.
Mm.
Well, making that decision is going to be a lot easier because I have people like you to be an example. And she kind of just nuzzles you, just like she like leans her head up a little bit so that she's nuzzling the side of your cheek.
Prim, roll inside.
Oh, insight. Oh no! Did I say something wrong?
That was certainly a surge of emotion right there, I will admit.
9.
Giving you advantage.
Ah!
Remy, you're -2. God
No!
damn it. With a 9, you. God, God, I can't in good conscience give you anything for a 9. I can contest it, but nothing short of a nat 1 would, like, make you notice anything.
Ah!
Yeah, no.
Heck.
Give her a luck point or something. Okay, I'm giving you a luck point. Reroll.
That's funny.
That's an odd 20, yes! So we alright, giving a luck point was the correct decision then. Prim, you don't notice at first because I assumed you were feeling relieved and happy and what.
Mm-hmm.
But like you do realize that ever since you said that you have people like Cell to like help you make this sort of decisions, you do realize that he's probably buried his like face into your hair earlier, right? While he was comforting you.
Yeah.
And you do realize that you like his smile is kind of frozen.
Oh. And like
It's
Primrose just
kind of
kind of
frozen. And he's like playing with his sleeves in like that nervous tick that you recognize as a nervous tick.
Mercy? You
Oh,
okay?
yeah, I'm alright.
Did I say something wrong?
Oh, no. You didn't say anything wrong. Immediate like shutting that down. Although hold on, there's a helicopter I think going.
Gosh dang it! We're
God
having a
damn it.
moment here!
You're having a moment. But he he he's just like no, it wasn't anything you said. It's just I mean the I don't know if well not that not that what I said was invalid. It's just and he doesn't know how to word it. But like with an 18 inside, like you kind of figure that what Cell has a problem with was specifically like the fact that you consider him someone to help you make a good decision, and he's like he doesn't think that he is that kind of person you should trust to help you make a good decision. Basically, he doesn't really think he's a good person quite yet.
Primrose kind of ponders on this for a moment. And like she's honestly kind of surprised at this realization.
Yeah, like normally she notices nothing because he has a +8 in fucking deception, and also he's surprisingly put together, but at the same time.
And also the fact that her insight is so bad.
Yeah. So like this probably like feels like it comes from nowhere, but like if Primrose like thought back to all their previous interactions and like specifically like Harmony where they were talking about hope and like Mersel like pegged his anger as one of the things that he was like worried about and his emotional constipation, like it's kind of a feeling of oh.
A lot of similar feelings, these two, huh?
Yeah, sure wonder about all these parallels.
I'm trying to think on what Primrose would do. Would she press or would she not press? I'm trying.
You could roll a D2. One is she does not press, and two she presses.
I'm just trying to think of the wording. Ah!
Okay, take your time.
Ah!
It's okay, take your time.
Oh boy.
Okay, she's gonna press,
Yeah. She's gonna press, but oh no. I have to think about how she'd word it.
Oh boy, howdy. I mean, we did kind of half expect this to happen. If she had
Yeah.
rolled high enough inside.
Mm-hmm.
Which she did. Miracle that it was. Literal miracle, because I gave you my luck point, and the roll you made with that luck point was at nat 20. It doesn't get more miracly than that.
Yeah. Like, Primrose is, like, kind of quiet. And she, like, tries to mull over what to say. Well, 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 I know you, and I know that you're... And, like, she's kind of, like, having the absolute realization that, wait a second, there are a lot of things about Mersel that I don't know.
Yeah, like, when you said that you know him, like, Sel kind of, like, huffs a dry laugh. Because you're starting to realize that aside from what he's told you during Harmony, and, like, little bits and pieces he's offered here, you legitimately know nothing about Mersel. You know more about Tobias than Mersel.
Well, maybe I don't know as much as I probably should.
That's... Well, that's not...
But
Well,
I know you're trying to be good, right?
I am, but I wouldn't... He kind of, like, goes quiet, because it's like that thing where, like, he can't, like, believe himself as a good person, but he can't say that, because then it kind of invalidates, like, Primrose's struggles. Like, if you have ever struggled with, like, something similar, like self-doubt or something similar, it's that awful feeling when, like, oh, for other people it's fine, it's just for me specifically that it's not.
I mean, Primrose kind of gets that, especially with the nat 20.
Yeah.
So I think Primrose just starts kind of rubbing Mersel on his back. As they, like, sit in a little bit of somewhat awkward silence.
Eventually, like, he pipes up, and, like, he's just... Well, Primi, you're a good person. Well, you're a very good person, and even if you can't believe that,
And I
believe
hope you know
you.
that you're a good person too. Even if it's hard to believe that sometimes.
He kind of blinks and, like, gives a little genuine, if a bit, if, like, a not completely, like, sure smile, and it's just like, well, if we can't believe in ourselves, we can believe in each other.
Yeah. Primrose nods in agreement as she just kind of, like, nuzzles you again.
He goes quiet before he goes, you know your birthday is coming up?
I think Primrose blinks. And she's like, oh yeah, it is, huh? Oh, there's been so much happening, I kind of forgot.
He smiles up at her then, and it's just like, yeah, it's coming up in a few days. I know I've already gotten something for you, and he's grinning impishly.
And like Primrose just kind of giggles as she nuzzles him again and gives him a little kiss.
He kisses her back, and he says, "And I'm very glad you're here. I'm very glad you were born."
This is very soft.
It is very, very soft.
I like to think that they spend like a good long while just cuddles. Good comfort cuddles.
Eventually do, like, I think like one of them, either Prim or Mersel, either is equally as likely would realize that hey, we should probably talk about this with Tobias.
Yeah, Primrose like has that realization of wait a second.
I mean, what would Mersel even talk to about with Tobias? He didn't even tell Prim anything like substantial.
Yeah.
This
Like Prim's not one to like press on past stuff because like her own past stuff she doesn't want pressed upon.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
It's that kind of thing where you don't like. Again, Sal is in the same boat. He doesn't press people about their past because he also doesn't like having his past pressed on, and class houses and stones. But at the same time, like not talking about the past sometimes, like you're just not confronting it.
Yeah.
Me sitting here with my hands, Magic Man, please.
I think Primrose kind of thinks on it before she very quietly says, I think if you ever need to like talk about something, I always have a pair of ears that are that are willing to listen, and I'm very good at listening. And she kind of like lifts up both of her very large ears.
Rizal like giggles at that, and then he goes quiet. And I'm gonna roll something real quick. Yes. He goes quiet, like he mulls it over, and then he looks at Prim and it's just, well, I might take you up on the offer. I did promise my little sister that if anything was ever bothering me, I would go to someone.
Primrose kind of blinks and nods, and she just gives him another hug.
You hug her back. I love you, Primmy.
I love you, Mercy.
Yes.
You kind of hear like a little thumping on the bed.
Her tail has started to wag again.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place to end FPS, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's a good place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so soft.
I hope with this, Primrose pecking talks to people.
Yeah.
Because, she's just seen firsthand how it can help. And also that, hey, maybe the reason why you think you're the only one struggling with this sort of stuff is because you never ask people or, like, talk to them about it.
Yeah. Prim is having many realizations today.
Yeah, I hope one of them is, I guess, like, being, like, a good person / being nice isn't, like, it's just a hard thing in general, no matter who you are. Like, obviously, it's easier for some
people. It is not the walk in the park she thought it was.
It is not. Character growth, we love to see it.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if Heart is still here, but Heart, if you're here, you can end the recording.
Yee.